In our notes today, we are going to be learning about how to simplify exponents with bases that are being multiplied. So you'll see that we have 3 different rules, and we're going to go through each one. For the first rule, the simple multiplication rule states that if we have the same base, so a and a, we're allowed to add their exponents together, and that's what you see here. So let's look at example number 1. We have 3 to the second power times 3 to the fourth power. Before I use this rule, I'm going to expand both of these to show us why it makes sense. So we have 3 to the second power, which means 3 times 3, and 3 to the fourth power means 3 is being multiplied by itself 4 times. If we were to count all of these up, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, we would see that we have 6 of them. So in exponential form, this would be 3 to the sixth. If you want to skip this step, you would memorize the rule and see that if you have the same base, you're allowed to add the exponents. So if I followed our rule, that would give me 3 to the second power plus 3 to the fourth. And once I add those exponents together, I would get 3 to the sixth. So you can get your answer either way. The same goes for variables. If we expanded x squared, it would be x times x. X to the fourth is written 4 times. When we add them all together, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, we get x to the sixth. But again, because we have the same base, we know that we can add our exponents when the bases are being multiplied, and therefore get x to the 2 plus 4, which is also x to the sixth. In our second rule, we are going to be talking about power of a power. So that just means when you have 2 exponents or 2 powers, they're going to be multiplied together. So if we have a base with an exponent inside of parentheses to another power, you just multiply them together. So first I'm going to expand this to show us why it makes sense. So we would write 3 to the second power 4 times first. So we've written it 1, 2, 3, 4 times. Now I'm going to expand each one of these. 3 squared is 3 times 3. Again, 3 times 3. So now I've fully expanded it. First I expanded to the fourth power, and then I expanded the 3 to the second power 4 more times. When we count all of these, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, we get 3 to the 8th power. So we could write this in exponential form as 3 to the 8th. If we wanted to follow the rule, we could also just multiply 2 and 4 to get 8 as well. So both ways, again, are going to give you the same answer. Same goes for x squared to the fourth power, so I'm going to write x squared 4 times. And then I'm going to expand each of those. I count them, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So we know it's x to the 8th power in exponential form. And again, if we had just followed the rule, x squared times 4 would also give us x to the 8th. In our last example, we're talking power of a product. So the word product means multiplication. So you see down here, a and b are being multiplied. I know that because they're right next to each other. And they're inside of parentheses to the x power. This means that we could distribute x to each one of their powers. So pretend a is to the first power and b is to the first power. Every letter or number, when there's no exponent, is technically to the first power. If I were to distribute, which means multiply, x to the 8th to the first power, I would get x times 1, which is just x. So we have a to the x. And then I would distribute x times 1 for the b, and I would also get b to the x. So let's see how this works first by expanding. If we were to expand this, we would be writing negative 3 times x 2 times. So we're going to see that we have two negative 3's, so we could write that as negative 3 to the second power. And we have two x's, so we could write that as x to the second power. If we wanted to follow the rule, we would distribute 2 to both of the 1's, and I know that 1 times 2 is just going to be 2 for both of them, so we would still get negative 3 squared, x squared. Same goes for variables. I'm going to expand this by writing it twice. We have two negative x's, so that'll be negative x squared. We have two y's, so that'll be y squared. But again, we could also distribute the 2. 2 times 1 is 2. 2 times 1 again is 2, and we'd get the same answer. You can do either way. Both ways will get you the right answer, but it's certainly much easier and faster to remember these rules, and you would be saving yourself a lot of writing and a lot of space.